announcers feeding him a lot of bologna. He was amazing. And he was an All-American football player from Notre Dame. And he was a character. But then halfway further through the program, after we started on, he got rheumatic fever and had to get worked out. And we all saw him off and thought we'd never see him again. And a couple of years after I was out of the service, here I see Silver Tongue Szymanski is captain of the East team playing football, so he got over it.
Is he the one that tackled you when you got...
Yeah.
What happened on that one?
We had to play 2 weeks of football, 2 weeks of everything, swimming, basketball, wrestling. And I went out for a pass one day, and I caught the pass. But when I woke up, there was Silver Tongue Szymanski
looking over you.
Yeah, and he says, "You didn't know I was around, did you?" Never forget that.
What base was that at when you played that?
I'm trying
football?
to think what base that was at. Because it wasn't snow, so must have had to have been Helena, Montana.
Where you did the boot camp at, what was it, Norman, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And then,
Did the Navy boot camp at Norman.
did they have you flying it all there, or was it just no? And then you went. Where'd you go after that? Was it?
Went to Monmouth, Illinois, Carroll College. Didn't fly there. Half day at ground school and half day at athletics. Then, let's see. Yeah, I guess I went to Helena, Montana after that. And that's where we first flew T-Crafts, Veronicas, N3N. God, then we went back.
Isn't that where the Carroll College is in Montana, or is it in?
Right.
Yeah.
Then we went to St. Mary's for half a day at ground school, half a day at athletics. Again. God, really had us in shape.
I read somewhere that President Ford was at St. Mary's, but he probably wasn't there maybe right at the same time you were, because he was an instructor in something, athletics there, but I might have been after you were there or something. You don't remember seeing him or anything. But didn't you say you saw that big, or heard that big explosion they had?
Yeah. Well, it broke the windows in the barracks at St. Mary's.
What was it?
A munition ship blew up in Oakland. Oh yeah, we could hear it and feel it. And that was awful. Killed a whole mess of guys.
It was awful.
So then after that, where was the next place? Was it back to
Went back
Norman?
to Norman, Oklahoma, and flew the Stearman.
That's what they called the primary, right? Or
Right.
we already had soloed the T-Craft though before that, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't call that primary though. That was
No, that was just, what did they call that? God, I can't remember.
But the whole, didn't they call it the V5 program that you were in, the whole thing?
V5, and V12 was the line officer.
But you could get in that after you signed up when you were in high school, right?
Yeah,
And then they let you finish high school, and then
and I worked summer at Kettenberg's, and then they called.
so that was in what, 1943 or
Yeah. So we got all that fabulous training and didn't get shot at. But we were ready. Boy, they gave us more training in survival and being in shape, and really absolutely wonderful. If you were athletic inclined. If you weren't, it was pretty tough.
so then where after the Norman you went down to was that after
Corpus Christi.
and then you flew the SNJ down there? Or is
Flew
that
the SNB first
oh yeah.
at Cavanis Field.
Is that like the Vultee vibrator? Is that the
That's
same
it.
thing?
Just before you stall, it just shakes all over for some reason. I didn't know why. But it didn't bother it, but just did it.
So then you got into when did
A hummingbird.
so then you went into SNJ, right?
Mhm.
And then was it at what field were you flying at when you had to bail out of the SNJ?
That was, I think that was my last 2 weeks of training. I bailed out.
Was that the Corpus Christi or that was
No,
didn't
that
you?
was at Brownsville.
Oh, Brownsville, yeah. So you over that King Ranch, right?
Yeah. But I didn't hurt myself going through the giant mesquite enough. My knee was all swelled up, but I didn't. I was hoping I didn't want to lose my flight, because I was flying with wonderful guys.
Stay with the same group.
My 6 guys, 5 guys and me formed a flight. We had an instructor.
But then you got tangled up in the parachute on the way down, right? Or,
Yeah. Well, I thought it was falling flat. Well, I was, except going 100 miles an hour. My legs were bent at the knee, and the pilot chute wrapped around my ankle.
so then you had to untangle that before. How low do you think you were when the parachute opened?
I think I was at 4,000 when I bailed out. I think I was probably about 1,000 feet. Thinking of the time I went with the chute open. I'm guessing. I know I didn't have any extra time left.
Yeah.
I didn't get that thing open.
And then you said the instructor landed in the field, right?
He landed in SNJ in a plowed field. The doctors were flying Cubs and they wouldn't land. They could have landed on one of the trails.
I didn't know that. I
But
never
that's
heard
the
you tell
kind
that
of guy.
before.
My instructor was really, he came back from the fleet and he really was a good guy. So then when he shut down, came and walked with me back to the plane, and then we got an exhaust flame when he over throttled. I had to jump out of the back cockpit and take the cushion, beat the exhaust fire. So then he got that thing wide open, went down the furrows, and just got off in time to get over this barbed wire fence.
Wow. But then you said they brought the plane in on a trailer or something.
Yeah, it came in on its belly, probably ran out of fuel, or flew into the ground, but it didn't tear the plane apart. It sheared the gear off in the prop, and I don't know where it was. Must have been a flat field. So then, to show you how military does, the officer, the battalion officer, gave me a 1-0 in the officer aptitude because I didn't bring the plane back.
Brother.
What a nut, huh?
But didn't your instructor tell you to bail out? He gave you a signal,
my
right?
instructor gave me instructions. I'm under his, and I said he could see something wrong that I couldn't see. He could see smoke and stuff. So he told me to be safe, bail out. What you gonna do?
They're going to go to the beach, I think.
Oh, okay.
Check it out.
What is it?
But then they didn't do anything really, because in the end, right? I mean, you graduated and everything.
Yeah, dude.
Got your wings. What about that other time when you had that takeoff and you had to chop the power and went through that muddy field? What about that? You were telling me about that one
They gave
before.
me 1-0 and I was doing what the tower told me.
But that's the SBD, right?
SBD.
And weren't you taking them out because there was a big hurricane coming?
Flyway, been raining for a week, and I was 2/3 of the way down the run. Well, you know, I can't see everything that's going on, and the tower's been doing the traffic, and they told me this is my takeoff. Well, I guess but
Didn't the guy ahead of you conk out or something, and then you had to? Or I think you said the guy ahead of you, he conked out, and then you were behind him, so they told you to, but you were already going really fast.
But I could have lifted off if I wanted to, but I figured I better do what they tell me, you know. But then it was so slippery, I was walking the brakes, I skidded off. As soon as I hit that mud, I just sheared the landing gear.
Wow. But those were planes they brought back from the Pacific, right? That they were using for training, that had been in the war and stuff, and then
when they got
they brought them back for
better, faster dive bombers. And it wasn't very good either. The SBTC was underpowered. Had a lot of trouble with it. But it was better than the SBD. More maneuverable and faster.
But then you graduated, what, right after, just right at the same time they were dropping all the atomic bombs and everything, right?
Yeah. Well, the war was over. Let's see, was it over already? Or I think it was.
But just within a week or so, right?
Because right away they said you can stay in, get out, whatever you want to do. I was after Mary Jane.
So you
need her more than I need the Navy.
But you were in the.
Maybe you should have stayed in, but.
So I never.
Yeah.
Never collected an officer's check.
But then you did fly in the reserves, though, right?
Yeah.
Like at North Island when you got back home, right? And that's when you got in the Hellcat, right?
Yeah.
But the Hellcat was at
North Island.
But then you said you flew out of that Ream field, right?
Well, yeah, I went down there to shoot. That's where I'd shoot landing. So you weren't bothering the traffic at North Island?
Oh, but you did take off at North Island because I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. They found one of those SB2 in the lake down there by somewhere by like Brown Field by Otay Lakes or
I think
something.
it's one of the old times.
And they brought it up and they're going to fix it all up.
Oh, it was in the lake?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
in there since World War II. It was
Guy bailed out.
like a training flight, and somehow they ditched in the lake and it sank, and then
Oh,
it's been in there all that time, and they brought it up.
It
It
wasn't that good a plane.
looked pretty good, you know, in condition wise.
Yeah. Fresh water.
And then they found a Hellcat up in Michigan in the lake where they had an aircraft carrier sort of anchored there, and they actually landed and took off it. And this guy went in the water, and he was still alive too.
Are
And
they going to restore it?
yeah, I think so. And it looked really good when it came up too.
Just
Like
think how
you could
many
still see all the insignias and all the lettering on it.
hundreds of those planes they just destroyed.
Yeah.
mm.
And they had he had a pack of cigarettes in there, and he remembered that after all those years. He said, well, I left a pack of cigarettes in that plane. They were his lucky strikes. And they found him. He said he told him there's a pack of cigarettes in there to look for him, and they did, and they found him.
They
And they
dry
found
them.
it?
I guess I don't know what they did with him, but
Amazing.
it was kind
Well,
of
they
a
were
cute
in the-
story.
So maybe they could bake them.
Oh my goodness.
You ought to take that navigation wheezy board I had and put it in that trunk.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you because it's a part of history. I
yeah.
had to leave the ship and navigate on that thing. But it worked.
Where would you put it?
In that trunk he had that trunk, under the house, like it
It's
was.
a V5 trunk. Too bad it got the bottom of it wet.
It's not bad though. There's only one little spot. It's really in pretty good shape. It's amazing.
The inside of it's good.
And even the outside too, really. There's just one little spot that got
Well, that's good.
damp a little
It's
bit.
a real memorabilia thing.
Yeah. But when you were in there, didn't you say you wrote to Mom like every single day?
I know it. That's why I probably drove her crazy. Probably why she gave me the Dear John.
But then she relented after you got back, right, or something.
I think Grandma Scott saved my life.
Thank God, huh?
Yeah, or else I wouldn't be here.
We have had a good, Mom and I go to bed at night and say how lucky we are to have wonderful kids, no health problems over the years. Really fortunate. And we had fun the whole time. Gee, those
I'll
kids.
say.
I was lucky that Morgan Miller's dad taught me how to go camping, how to go hunting, how to fly fish. He was a great guy.
Well, you still got your fly fishing rod, right?
Yeah,
Is it a Sears or?
it's a Sears split bamboo rod.
And then you got your 22.
Yeah, I got it at the pawn shop for $8.
Do you still have that, bud?
Yeah. Yeah, the kids have all shot it. I guess you've never taken it.
I took it when Stan and them, remember their dad would take us, they like to go shooting for a while.
Yeah.
And I took it up there and got to shoot it.
Bill Jones and Janie took it up to the mountains there at that ranch where all the big corporals have their house. with a lake. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
beautiful. They took it up there,
Cuyamaca.
and Molly and Scott and all of them shot it.
They have a thing in Tulare where they scouts go. They call it the father and son shootout. It's not where the fathers or the sons shoot the fathers or the fathers shoot the sons. They shoot targets, but they call it
Yeah.
the father and son shootout. They make it like a contest. They keep score and stuff. Be fun to take it to that sometime.
Well, you can take it anytime you want.
I'll see when they're going to have it the next time. Maybe I could take, because they always go to a good place, where you
Yeah.
can,
It's
like
a
a,
beautiful little gun. It's got a pistol stock, octagon barrel, takes 22 shorts and 18 longs. It's got a couple of pits in it, but it doesn't seem to bother it in the accuracy. And I cleaned it every time and oil, put it in that case. Yeah, I don't think there's so many of those octagon barrels around. They're kind of classic.
is it a certain brand or like a,
Remington,
oh, Remington, yeah.
they were the big gun makers.
Remember when you were telling me that story about when you were in the Navy and you were wrestling that, and somehow you ended up on top of the other guy, or
Yeah,
What happened?
that was funny. That was Belsky, my friend in my platoon. Nice guy, but stronger than heck. But I never took wrestling in school. Only in the service I took it. Well, we didn't have time, 2 weeks of wrestling. We didn't have time to really learn. But I just was lucky and got my arms around him and stumbled and fell on him. Won the regimental championship when I didn't even know how to wrestle.
So it was an accident? Oh my goodness.
well, you must have been in pretty good shape, though, I
Oh, I
think.
was in good shape. And Morgan talked me into boxing. God,
That didn't
that
come out
was
so good.
bad news. I think I have a glass chin, really. And then short arms. I got against a guy that kind of knew what he was doing, and he had long arms. I didn't get inside of him. He just beat me up.
But Morgan didn't. He probably didn't try it himself. He
Morgan knew
talked
that.
you into.
But he thought I was in such good shape.
But then was that when he? Then he got the mumps, right, and had to
Yeah.
leave
Well,
for a
no,
while, or
no. This was early. The boxing came when I was in boot camp
oh,
in Norman. Yeah, Morgan got the mumps and the Helen. Or we would have gone all the way through and been in a fight together. And how does that ever happen? That best friends get called together?
yeah.
Amazing. We were fortunate.
But then you played basketball too, right? In the
Yeah, I played
service and.
basketball at every base. Well, every base except they had the big time guys as coaches at St. Mary's, so I didn't get to play there. But I played at Norman, Oklahoma. I played at Carroll College.
How come you didn't get to play at St. Mary's?
Because they had the big time basketball players were coaching there. So they were the St. Mary's team.
Oh.
And then what? And then you didn't you say you dropped your your dad was your grandfather's watch that your mom
Yeah.
gave you
Yeah, one
out of the
big
Stearman,
thick
or
gold watches. Yeah, that was in Norman, in the Stearman. Did a slow roll and it fell out of my pocket.
oh no,
So somebody found that in the field someplace.
maybe it's
One of
still out
those
there.
thick Elgin watches that
Did
you
they tell you?
unscrewed
Did you
the
ever get it
faceplate.
back, Bud?
Huh?
Did you get it back?
Oh no. Maybe nobody ever found it.
Might have got buried out there when they
Yeah.
were in the wintertime
Green
snow
grass
and the
or what.
plowing the field or whatever.
Oh dear.
Right. I never told my mom I lost it.
But then when you got back, or remember when you said you got that one story where you and Morgan rented the Stearman and you
Yeah.
flew
Up
over
at
the.
Montgomery Field, we rented a couple of Stearmans and flew in Jay and Jean to breakfast at Warner's.
That was so fun. It's so fun to fly along with this side, wing on
Came
wing.
around, buzzed
Look
the
over and see Morgan
place,
and
and they
Jane
drove
sitting there.
down, picked us up, and took
It
us
was
to
really
breakfast.
fun.
It's pretty windy in the Stearman.
Yeah.
Were you in the front or the back? You were probably in the front, the passenger.
She was in the back.
Oh, really? Don't you usually solo
We
those
flew
from the
soloed. We
from the
flew
back?
From the back.
Oh,
They had those low wing, what the heck was the name of them, at certain bases instead of the Stearman. And what they did, they let the guy fly in the back, and they put a sandbag in the safety belt in the front seat. They were a low wing, all wood, plywood. God, I can't think.
well, there was they had those Fairchild, the
That was
PT
it.
23, and
Yeah,
then they had the Ryans.
yeah.
That was a PT
Well, the Fairchild was the one I'm talking
19, I think.
about. And this poor guy was flying from the back seat, and the sandbag fell off the front seat.
Wow.
And I guess it landed in the controls and killed him.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, they lost quite a few in training in those days, I think. Maybe more than they do now. I don't know.
We didn't lose. We didn't lose anything. Those guys kept those planes. We never had plane failure. And mine, if I'd have stayed with it, I probably could have brought it down, but I couldn't see it, so. But anyway, they did a fabulous job of keeping all those planes flying all day, every day.
Yeah, it was such a huge program that
Yeah.
at the time
Well, when we came
they were
down,
funneling all the
we were
resources into it.
suspicious of anything. We put it on a ticket, and put it in there when we came in from the plane, from the flight line. And they were on it and kept all those 100 planes at that, 100 Stearmans flying all day, every day.
Pretty nice.